Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Weather Fans Live here on Saturday, the 25th of July, 26. Hope you are all well. Apologies for the no live last week. I just wasn't feeling too well at all. And as I'm going live, Stormy decides to bash through the door. I'll try to bring her onto the screen shortly. Hope you're well. So, yep. For many, the dry spell continues through, well, it seems like for weeks, but there is some rain moving through the country as I speak. There is a poll happening just down here. If you want to cast your vote, if you had any rain since the start of July. I'll keep that running for about another 5 minutes or so. So, yeah, it's been quite dry. So there's rain moving down from the northwest at the moment. Can I bring that onto the screen? Of course I can. I could do anything. Well, no, I can't. It's a lie. Let's bring up the radar. Here we go. Let's bring up the satellites and the latest radar from Sat24. I'll just move that poll to the top left-hand corner out of the way. So, yep, this is the latest from Sat24. The hot air that we've had recently is getting shunted away towards the southeast. We've got all this cloud moving through the country. Still seeing quite a lot of bright spells, but it's introducing much fresher air for now. And some of this, if I can take off. No, it won't let me take off the cloud. But there's been some patchy rain moving southeastwards during the day. And for the first time this month, we did have a bit of rain this afternoon here. Didn't last too long. It hasn't recorded anything on my weather station at all, so it's been less than 0.3 millimeters. But it's just nice to smell the rain, which feels like a long time. So the reason why I've just paused there is because Stormy's about to do something naughty. Excuse me a second. Right. If you want to be naughty, come and sit on my lap. There she is, biting me again, aren't we? You're causing trouble again, are we? So hello to your fans. Excuse me, remove your mouth away from my hand. Thank you. So there's Stormy causing mayhem already. She carries on. We'll have to take her out in the other room. Anyway, I'm digressing. Do apologise. Why is that gone? That size. There we go. Right, let's crack on. Back to what we're doing. So, yeah, it's going to be cooler for the next couple of days, but temperatures looks like it's going to start rising again, but we'll have a look in just a moment. I was going to put my head into the chat to see how it all do. You're joking me. Excuse me a second, I need to move Stormy from a box. Right, you out. Pack it in. Sometimes I say never work with animals. Do apologise about this. Do apologise. Right. Let's have a look at comments. Good evening to Laura, who was in, but she's feeling exhausted and having early nights. Thank you all for popping in. If you're watching on playback, hope you have a good night's sleep. Good evening to Dog Training. Hope you are well this evening. And hello to my good friend Chris from Burton. Good evening to Audio Coffee and Anne Smith. Hope you are both well. Wait, there's the mere suggestion of wet count. Sorry, I don't understand. Wait, there's the mere suggestion of wet count. I don't know. Good evening to our mod James. Hope you're well, my friend. Keeping an eye on things in the background. All knows in a week of whatever of sitting on the fans because cool down is not an option. Hope your fans are strong enough because what I've seen the last few days on some of these, especially the GFS charts, you're not going to like what you're going to see. They'll say sitting on the fans, I meant sleeping with at least 2 fans running. So, yeah, there's Stormy. Good evening to Paul James. Evening, Michael and Stormy. Yeah, I've had to put it in the other rooms. Just keeps going into the craft boxes in here, and we woke up this morning with some craft feathers all over the floor this morning, and then she keeps getting to the pipe cleaners as well. So I've had to put her in the kitchen for now, otherwise she's just going to keep causing mayhem. Our life with cats, indeed, indeed. You love them, but when you try to do something, you can sit in the other room for now. Off for your Paul, not proper rain, I think. Yeah. I've had rain, but it's not really it's not registered at all on my weather station. It's just something that's fell from the sky, but it's not going to do anything to help the colour of the grass, believe me. Because like most grasses around the country, it's more like a yellow at the moment. It's more like growing hay. Got the cloud for rain. Got a rain cloud hovering around. It's trying to have the best terrain or do something. Well, you never know. It could rain, but you're not realised. Wasn't until I was looking at the back garden earlier on, I was like, oh, the ground's a bit wet. But I still have own feathers. My cat loves playing with feathers. She's got so many toys. I thought there was one next to me. Obviously, you've got the ones with a stick with a feather at the end. But she just loves my daughter's craft boxes. Lots of wildfires up this way. Skies were orange last week. Wow. Just shows how dry it's really been. And we just need some decent amount of rain. Normally, August, if you want rain, August is the month where we do get quite a lot of rain. So could we be seeing ourselves transitioning from this dry spell into something more wetter as we go into August? As I will say, time will tell in the next few weeks. Could we be heading somewhere more wetter? Just bear with me again. I thought I'd plug myself in. Aha, I just haven't switched. That would have been no good then. Suddenly disappeared. I forgot to put my top on charge. Oh, definitely need some rain and better thunderstorms. I've been saying it. How many years now? It's like the 3rd year where we've barely had anything again. It's just, if nothing happens next month, normally September's the transition where we go from warmer to go from hot to, well, warm and to hot to something a bit cooler. Hopefully we get something in September, but so far it's been dreadful again. Been a few thunderstorms. What, end of May was it? Yeah. But it's been another dry summer. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm going to bring Stormy back in the other room again. Right, hopefully no more distractions now. I do apologise again. Right, where was we? I'm going to be full of evil, get away to a train, then I'll take it for a walk. Oh, have I missed a few comments there? Ah, yes. Been taking a walks in the garden to try and convince her that the grass hasn't grown and no rain has fallen. I've seen that France looks very bad. Oh, yes, with the wildfires. France and Spain have been hit badly with the wildfires. And if we continue like this, we'll probably see a few more before the summer out in this country if it does start to warm up again. But everything's very dry at the moment. Very dry. Yeah, it's been disappointing second half of June and July. We just need rain. We didn't say that in winter time, did we? When we was getting flooded across the country. But I think it's just the change in our climate. I think we're just going to get wetter winters and perhaps drier summers. Right. I think it's maybe time. I think it's now time to start looking at the charts. Let's soldiers on June the 17th. It was a big day that was, wasn't it? It's just ridiculous when last time we saw any decent rain. Normally we'll have like maybe like a week's worth of dry weather, then it's like raining in some form or another. But this dry spell has just been continued on and on and on and on. I've just found a cure for our prolonged dry weather. Our highest pack ban kicks in on August the 4th or 5th. Yeah, and it won't stop raining then. Is it going to be an actual heat wave or just summer? Well, we'll be hitting the well. We'll have a look in a second. Where's the images? Because I can bring up the heat wave threshold. So there's your temperatures you need. There's the temperatures you need for your heat wave threshold. So down towards the southeast, we're looking at temperature of 3 days above 28. The red rounding, we're looking at temperature above 27 degrees for 3 consecutive days. Then you've got your more like your darker pinks at 26 and elsewhere at 25 degrees for 3 consecutive days. So where shall we look at first? Let's have a look at the facts charts, then we'll start looking at the latest GFS, which has been quite interesting recently. Right, I'm just going to finish that poll off. So out of 5, 60% of you had no rain since the start of July, and 2 of you, 40%, have had rain since the start of July. Let's turn it off now. We've had a couple of nights of rain in Gateshead. Jealous, jealous. The last proper rain I had, Paul, was that thunderstorm. That's a long time ago. A housepipe band's here from today. Wow. No rain during the time or Newcastle this year. Now that's unusual. I'm beginning to forget what rain looks like. I'm not watching on the webcams. I think I'm beginning to forget what rain looks like. That I'm not watching on the webcam, so we're not in the UK. Oh, so some of you got housepipe bands started. What do we get here? South Staffordshire Water. We've not received anything about any housepipe bands here at the moment, but I will tell. So true. Now all the schools that here are finished for the summer. That's the other. It's going to rain marker right there. So true. I was finished around here last week, so they've just finished their first week of the 6-week holiday, so they've got 5 weeks to go, or they go back here in 39 days, I think it is. Not like we're counting down or anything like that. Right, let's have a look at the facts charts now. So these are the human interpretation of the latest weather from the Met Office. Let me just see if that's refreshed. Sometimes it refreshes to the 18 UTC. It hasn't. So current setup, high pressure over the Azores, and we've got these weather fronts moving towards the southeast of the UK as we speak, introducing a bit more fresher air from the northwest. Any heat that's built will be getting pushed back into the near continent. So that's a cold front coming through the country overnight to tomorrow, introducing some spells of more shower rain. The weather front is fragmenting as it's moving towards the southeast. So during tomorrow, and into Monday, we're in fresher air. Then we've got high pressure building up from the southwest during Monday. Looks like it'll take a warmth over the country, saying goodbye to that cool fresh air, and high pressure starts to establish itself towards the south. And our winds, guess what? Switches more to more southerly, so we start importing some of this heat off the near continent. We've got this cold front being the boundary between the cooler, fresher air out towards the northwest, and with this high pressure sat towards the south, it looks like we could be reintroducing more warmer, hotter air up from the south. But one feature we need to keep an eye on is this low pressure here. This is as far as I can go with the facts charts, but this low pressure down here has been hinting for the last few days of sitting just to the west of Iberia, and if it does that, it's possibly a like a summer setup to when we hit 40 degrees a few years ago, back in 2022, I think it was, or 21. We had low just sitting here, then slowly moved up towards the west, and it just pushed all that hot air out of Iberia through France, and that's when we got that 40-degree temperatures. I think it was July 20. I'm gonna say 22, but I swear it's 21. No, one of you will let me know. So let's go onto the UK view. Just have a look at the rainfall and the temperature for the next couple of days with the high res. So temperatures, I'm going to start from tomorrow because today is virtually past. So through tomorrow, in the much fresher air for many. So temperatures across the board, away from the southeast, are ranging from around about 12 to 15 up in Scotland, to around about 17 to around about 22. So some places could be dropping below 20 degrees for the first time in probably about 3 or 4 weeks at least. The warm temperature is still hanging on towards the southeast, where it could get up to about 25, maybe 26 degrees. Going through into Monday, still relatively fresh across the country, especially towards western, northwestern areas. It is slowly starts to build again from the middle and south eastwards, getting into the low to mid 20s yet again. And going through into Tuesday, the heat starts to build again. If you remember the thresholds there for some areas, we could be getting close to or above that, especially down towards the southeast. Temperatures away from northwestern areas where it's going to be in the teens. And through much of England and Wales, temperatures are back into the mid to upper 20s through Tuesday. What does that we go through into Wednesday? Just a reminder, this is the high resolution. So at the moment for Wednesday, we're seeing those temperatures really starting to climb. Many areas of England and Wales are up into the high 20s, and this is even showing mid 30s across parts of the Midlands into Lincolnshire, down towards central southern areas away from the south coast, but even the temperatures there perhaps into the low 30s. But you can add a degree or two on top of these. So these are showing about 32 to 35, so maybe up to 33, 34, 35, possibly 36 is a possibility there. So if you don't like the heat, please look away now, but don't come away from the live because we're still not finished yet. But yeah, looks like another heat wave is on the way. Can we go any further? We can't. So if you're not a fan of the heat, it's not great news at all. Did I look at the precipitation on that? No, I didn't. So the precipitation on the same model run, it's not really shown some of the showers that was through my neck of the woods a couple of hours ago quite well, but just showing that some part shower rain will be crossing the country overnight, this evening and into overnight. So that was surprised. Do see a bit of rain during the night, and they're still showing perhaps a few showers there for parts of Wales, northern England, and perhaps more so for northeast England, southeast Scotland. It's a possibility through tomorrow, and the rest of a few showers there, perhaps going to the North Midlands there. Still continues through parts of northern England. Going into Monday, through Ireland, it's just that wall front moving across, reintroducing that, shall I say, hotter air. And it's looking quite wet there for parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, parts of northwest England through into Tuesday. Possibility there could be some heavy showers, perhaps thundery there for parts of southwest Scotland, northeast England through into Tuesday. And going into Wednesday, the heat continues for the south, and any rain will be confined more to northwestern areas. So once again, it's your typical northwest southeast split, wetter towards the northwest, dry and hot towards the southeast, and that continues towards the end of July. Before I move on to the GFS, I'm just going to put my head back into the chat to see how you're all feeling after seeing that. Oh no, not 40. Not bad. Looks like it won't go that far on the compared to the high resolution, but we'll have a look at the GFS. But you might want to look away in a few moments' time. Well, it looks like I'm not going to be out for all next week. Here we go again, isn't it? Heatwave number 4, potential on the cards. I'm not a fan of the heat, and this year's massive heat rush tells me it doesn't like it either. Oh dear. Pull back from Wednesday then. Good evening to Colby Taylor. Hope you're well. Sorry I'm late. What have I missed? Hope everyone is well. Well, not too much. Virtually a repeat of what's been going on heading for Heatwave number 4. And rain in Wakefield since the 26th of June. Yeah, I think that's been pretty much the same everywhere. So there's a bit of showiness coming through right now, but not everyone will see those showers. 4th heat wave. I'm leaving because there's a 5th. I'm leaving because if there's a 5th heat wave, I'm off to the Antarctic. Actually, yeah, I did see temperatures actually in the Antarctic reported. I think last week it got down to about minus, I think, 82 degrees. It's been like the coldest day since somewhere about 2012. So I think it was like minus 82 in the Antarctic. Minus 128. You sure that's not Fahrenheit, maybe? Shall we get a coach? Yeah. Let's see if I can find that report of. Let's see if I can find that report of that. Yeah, I think I just did see it was minus 128 Fahrenheit. Yeah, that'd be Fahrenheit, minus 128 degree Fahrenheit. I think it was around about 8182 on that. Right, how are we doing? 8:30. Let's now have a look at the GFS. This has been coming up quite a lot on the runs recently. If you want cold weather, if you're away from the northwest, please look away now. We'll bring up the latest run. Let's bring up the 850 so we can tell how hot or cold the air is aloft. Make sure on the screen. At Concordia base, that's correct. Minus 84.1 degrees. Thank you, Paul. Minus 84.1. So there we are, talking about 30 degree plus heat, and they're about 110 degrees lower. Oh, Jesus, wet. I've seen a lot of 40 degrees and a lot of models. Yeah, let's have a look at this. So this is the current setup at the moment. We're coming into this northwesterly flow with these weather fronts crossing the country. The heat's getting pushed back into Europe. It's nice to see the yellows coming through into tomorrow, and the greens for parts of Scotland. But what's going to start to happen? We've got the 10, got the plus, and there's a minus 10 then. Not middle of winter, is it? We've got the plus 10 coming out of the country into Tuesday, Monday to Tuesday. Then we've got the 15-degree isotherm then going into parts of the Midlands, southeast England on Tuesday. Minus 20 currently is over Biscay, so will that get any closer to the UK? Going into Wednesday, there's that 20-degree isotherm right across much of England and Wales on Wednesday. Then we've got that cooler air trying to move in from west. So it looks like, as it stands, I know computer models have been struggling. It's just where that boundary between the, shall we say, the cooler, fresher air and the hot air towards the east. So where that line is going to be crucial if you're going to be sweltering in the mid-30s or sitting there nice and cool, perhaps into the mid to high teens. So that 20-degree isotherm starts to push eastwards with this latest lunchtime run from the GFS on Thursday. Then the fresher air winds out. Then the hot air is trying to get back in again, but fighting with that cooler, fresher air with that low pressure up towards the north of the UK. Excuse me, on day 8, on Sunday the 2nd. But just to the southeast, we've got that plus 15-degree isotherm just across the Atlantic. It just takes a minor adjustment for that to be into the country or even push further away from the country if this cooler air winds out. So with this GFS run, it keeps it cool for the first few days of July. And does this bring any hotter air back in? Actually, it keeps it cool for the first week of July. So that warmer air is still not too far from the southeast corner. Then with the 12 o'clock run, it keeps us nice and fresh. And we've got high pressure trying to move up from the Azores, but by then we're in that cooler, fresher air. So even we've gone from about plus 20-degree isotherm to about a 5 at the end of the run. So potentially there with this GFS run, we could be looking at a bit of a heat blast. And when me and the team did our predictions start of March, I predicted that this summer could be the case where we're going to keep getting these heat spikes. I think I meant for the term I used, where we have a few days of really hot weather. And it seems to have happened already. Obviously, we had that heat wave at the end of May, then into June, then we won't call it a heat spike that we've had recently, but it's just been slowly, gradually cooling down. But it looks like we could be heading for like another heat spike, potentially mid to end of this week. So let's have a look at the temperatures with this. After this, we'll have a look at this morning's run to see if it's in agreement with each other or if it's completely the opposite. So let's go through into tomorrow. Again, temperatures tomorrow, away from the southeast, ranging from about 15 to 21 degrees. Excuse me, I should have brought a drinking, but I haven't, but hey ho. That's better. So temperatures perhaps say around about the mid 20s down towards the southeast. And then going into Monday, this actually shows the heat building a bit more quickly compared to the UKV high resolution model. It just keeps us a bit more fresher, more towards central northern areas. But this spring, the heat's back in quite quickly. So ranging from about 23, 24 for parts of northwest England through to about 30, 31 and towards the southeast. Then going into Tuesday, the dreaded whites start to appear on the map. So Tuesday, if you want any cool weather, head up towards northern Scotland where temperatures will remain about 14, 15 degrees. Elsewhere, for much of England and Wales, we're looking at the mid to high 20s and even low 30s there for central southeastern areas. Going into Wednesday, I mean, by 9 o'clock, temperatures are already into the high 20s and getting to the low 30s towards the southeast at 9 a.m. But look at this. This is ridiculous. Again, you can add a degree or two on top. So if this was to come out, we could be seeing temperatures close to 40 degrees on Wednesday if this is to come off. So widely into the mid-30s for much of England and eastern Wales. The low 30s across the rest of Wales. Into the far north of England could be in the mid to high 20s, but the cooler, fresh air still remains up towards the northwest of Scotland, where you could be getting close to 20 degrees. But these temperatures again over France, 42, 43, maybe 44 degrees is possible. So going to help with the wildfires over there. Then going into Thursday, the heat's just getting slightly pushed back further east. So it could be just that one day where we could be hitting ridiculous amounts. But even then, towards the southeast of England, we could be still hitting them about 34 to 36 degrees. Then it's turning much cooler up towards the northwest, into northwest Wales, northwest England. And again, that fresher air trying to move down from the northwest. Temperatures are cooling down to around about 29, 30 degrees for central northeastern areas. As I said, just away from that southeast, where we could be still just about hitting the mid-30s. Going into the last day of July, then the heat just stays there, but perhaps the degree or two lower for many places, where perhaps the warmest hot spots will be along the M4 corridor. We're peaking around about 31, 32, maybe 33 degrees. So with these temperatures continuously from about Tuesday onwards, we'll be hitting those temperature thresholds, and we will be back into the heatwave criteria again. 3 consecutive days of those threshold temperatures, and we're easily done that. Again, fresh up towards the northwest. Then the 1st of August, and we're keeping it quite hot towards central eastern areas. Perhaps the heat's pushing back up again towards northwest a bit more. Still remaining cool up towards northwest. So it's just that battleground where that boundary between the hot and the fresher air will be as we go through this week into next. Then going through to Sunday the 2nd of August, then the heat's declining a bit more, decreasing. So instead of being in the mid to high 20s, perhaps low 30s. Sorry, the high 20s, low 30s. Temperatures have been dropping about another perhaps 4 or 5 degrees in some areas, but that fresh air is getting pushed back down towards the southeast, affecting parts of Wales, north west England. And going through into Monday the 3rd of this latest chart, again, temperatures are into the mid to high 20s. That heat is still just not too far away, just a minor adjustment. It could be closer or it could be further away. We just where that boundary between the hot and fresher air will be. I'll bring it through today 10. Again, temperatures remaining into the mid to high 20s, going into them, into day 10, not into then. So I won't go any further than this. So what we'll do, let's bring in the 6Z run. What do we look at? Let's have a look at the upper air temperatures for both of these model runs. Just going to put my head back into the chat. You know it's bad when you say cooling down to 30 degrees. Yeah, that's so true. I would like to have some storms with this awful heat at some point. You and me both. I can confirm. It's all sort of saying trying to rain here, but all the grass is shouting, me, wet me. Just pop back head back into the chat. Good evening to Amy Kuma. I hope you're well this evening. And who did I just see pop in there? Good evening to Send It. Hope you're keeping well, my friends. Wow, three raindrops fell in Barnsley as expected, even though Marco. Good evening to you, Send It. Hope you're all okay, Matt. Or Matthew. Definitely like to be called Matt or Matthew. So what do you think about this heat? Send It. All right, let's have a look. I keep double checking because I've done it before where I've actually talked for ages. I've not actually put the maps on the screen. So let's have a look at the comparisons between this morning's run and the latest run. So on the right is this morning's run, and on the left is the current run from lunchtime today. Let's move it forward because they're both in agreement with that fresh run moving in. Then both in agreement with that hotter air moving up from the southeast. So both are showing that 20-degree isotherm, virtually the same actually, through into Wednesday. So good agreement there. This morning's run had that low pressure up towards northwest as more of a bit of a deeper low. What goes through? This morning's run just kept that heat a bit further and kept it going a bit more towards the southeast through into Friday. So this morning's run keeps the heat going more towards more central eastern areas, where the latest run brings fresher air across the country into next Sunday, but that heat isn't too far away from the southwest. Then this morning's run does bring that fresher air in as well. The latest run just keeps that heat just on the near constant, but with this morning's run, has actually pushed that fresh air more towards Central Europe. There's a bit more of a more of a northeasterly with the this morning's run, with high pressure out towards the west, like it's been actually through much of this week, with high pressure out towards the west, keeping things coming down from the northwest. But the latest GFS, as the winds come up from the southwest, trying to bring that hot air close again towards the UK. But this morning's run's keeping it a lot fresher with high pressure out towards the west. But the latest run, the high pressure is a lot further south towards the Azores compared to the previous run. Right, let's go bring that back and have a look at the temperatures for both to see if they're in similar agreement. So let's bring that through to Monday. So both agreeing with that fresh air coming down during tomorrow. But they're both literally identical there, with that hot air starts to build again through Monday. So there's day 2 of the heat building. So both quite similar there, into the low 30s across much of central southern England. Then through into Wednesday, both in agreement of temperatures really getting up into the mid 30s there. Kind of virtually identical, to be honest, for Wednesday. So both this morning's run and the latest run are in agreement for Wednesday, hitting the mid to high 30s. Could we get close to that 40-degree mark is the question. And we saw with the latest run that heat recedes a bit towards the southeast, and both in agreement again for Thursday, with that heat getting pushed towards the east. I've got to say, this GFS run's actually agreeing with itself for much of next week, if I'm honest with you. Not too much differential there through next week. Then we go into next Saturday, and that's where we start to see it's kind of disagreeing a bit more with itself. It's expecting temps to be a bit more higher towards the southeast next Saturday. Pushes through to Wednesday. So the latest run has that fresher air coming down from the northwest a bit more compared to this morning's run, where it keeps the heat going in the east, up in towards northeast England. Going into day 9. And actually, even for day 9, that looks very similar. Perhaps a few degrees higher with the latest run for Monday the 3rd. And 2 more days of these charts. And this morning's run has it more fresher towards the west compared to the heat building again with the latest. And through into Wednesday now. Not as hot with this morning's run, especially for western areas, well, for central areas as well. If you look at this morning's run compared to latest, it's about a good 3, 4, 5 degree difference there between the two. All right, let's bring myself back in. Just load up the comments. Michael, it's rubbish. I wish it would bugger off, but good for the channel, I suppose. Depends really, because we want storms out on this channel, so the team can go out chasing. Gordon was actually way up towards, I think, Norway the past few days. If you looked on our Facebook page, they did a few videos from there. I don't know if he was trying to look for rain or he's just taking a break from the UK for a few days. But it is back in the UK now. Oops, forgot to switch the power on the laptop, nearly out of battery. That's what I did at the start of the live. I thought, why is my battery not charging? Then I realised I've got a habit of not putting the switch down on the plug. I'm in agreement with you on the weather. I prefer grim wet days and my neighbours wearing proper clothing. Oh no. Is it like a scene from Raspberry Nesbit from back in the day? Like string vests and everything hanging out. I was close to doing the raid dance in the garden last night. When we did have that bit of rain, which probably lasted about a few minutes. I literally just stood there and not moved. I was like, oh, this is nice. With my arms stretched. And you can actually smell the rain as well, that beautiful smell when it hasn't rained for a long time. Oh, here we go again with this weather. Right, where are we now? 10 to 9 already. Oh, it's still light as well. Just a matter of time before it starts getting dark around at this time. So let's move on to the ECMWF weekly anomaly charts. Let's bring it up in just a second. Oops. Just refresh that page before I bring it on. Okay, I've gone a bit too far back. What have we done here? Just bear with me a second. Just lost my tab. Just bear with me. Right, I had my charts all loaded up and just clicked the button. It's done it all. There we go. There we go. I found it. Apologies for that. I'll bring that up on the screen once it's finished loading because everything's going slow again. Really need to get my laptop into for a bit of a service sort out because it's slowing right down. There we go. So let's bring on the ECMWF weekly anomaly chart. So this is for the 27th of July through to the 3rd of August. Has high pressure out towards southeastern Europe, the main of it. We've got lower pressure out towards the Azores. We've got high pressure up towards Greenland and Iceland. And with this flow, we're looking perhaps a bit of actually, we could be in a bit of a transition here. We've got a bit of a southeasterly on this, but then you've got low pressure up towards the north. I just think this is a transitional from low pressure moving up towards the northwest, where we're getting that fresher air establishing itself up towards the north. So I think that's more of a transitional period with low pressure down towards the southwest as well. We did see that low sitting around back here that could potentially pump up more hot air. 3rd of August through to the 10th of August, got higher pressure over the UK through into Central Europe as well. So again, with low pressure out towards the southwest, it could be tapping into maybe a bit of Atlantic there. Could we introduce a bit more hot air potentially? Again, on the cusp there. Then the 10th of August through to the 17th of August. There's not really a clear signal there. It could be perhaps under shallow below pressure, between high pressure. There's no really clear signal there. We're looking at average pressure for this time period. And again, from the 17th to 24th of August. And there's high pressure for the end of August as well, and to the start of September. There's high pressure over the UK. Precipitation with the same charts. Let's have a look at these. Everything is really slowing down on me at the moment. So the 27th of July through to the 3rd of August is looking much drier than average for for much of England and Wales, wetter up towards northwest of the UK. So potentially with that boundary of the hotter air and the cooler air, there could even be maybe some heavy perhaps thunder rain affecting perhaps northwest Scotland. The 3rd of August through to the 10th of August, that's it, mostly average, perhaps dry and average towards the southeast and slightly wet and average towards the northwest. The 10th through to 17th of August, we're looking around about average, perhaps slightly wetter than average again for northwestern areas. Then we're looking average for the 17th to the 24th of August and through to the last week of August and into the start of September, perhaps looking slightly drier than average. And now the 2 meter temperatures. And it eventually loads up. How many times have we said this summer? So next week, 27th of July through to the 3rd of August, we're looking much warmer than average across the UK. The 3rd of August through to the 10th of August, we're looking above average. Look at Central Europe there. Talking about a good 6 to 10 degrees above average there. The 10th through to the 17th, we're looking above, and continue through to the end of August, we're looking above, and even beyond that, looking above average. Good evening to Froglegs Mafia. Hope you're well. What have I missed? If you like heat, you're going to enjoy this forecast. If you like heat into the mid to high 30s, you'll enjoy this forecast. Just audio. The grown-up version of Waiting for Santa is Waiting for Rain. Yeah. I love the heat. You sound like Gordon. Gordon loves the heat as well. So he went to Norway. I reckon he went to Norway for a bit of rain. Right, so let's move away from the UK and head over stateside for our weekly look at the Storm Prediction Centre. So for today, across the pond, there is an enhanced risk. Right up on that. There's an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms for central into South Dakota. There was a slight risk of severe thunderstorms in central and eastern Montana. Widespread severe gusts are possible across South Dakota late this afternoon through this evening. So with these storms, this is more of a, there's not expecting any tornadoes with this. It's more of going to be like a wind threat with this. And yeah, it's more of a wind problem with these storms than it is with anything else. Look at day 2, that moves further east. So it's just a slight risk affecting just under 15 million people. So a quick write up on that is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms from the mid-Missouri Valley across the upper Mississippi Valley and western Great Lakes. The summary on that is severe thunderstorms capable of large hail and damaging winds are possible from the upper Mississippi Valley, Great Lakes into the portions of the mid-Missouri Valley on Sunday and Sunday night. Day 3, that continues to move eastwards. So the slight risk then affects 46.5 million people. So again, there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms from parts of the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley. Severe storms capable of damaging winds and large hail possible across the Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley Monday into Monday night. So it's the same system that's crossing the north there, and that'll continue to push further east for day 4 as there's a 15% chance of severe storms affects the eastern seaboard. And that is it for days 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. One last look. We're heading now over towards the hurricane season. So again, last week did have a tropical storm. I think it was Tropical Storm Bertha that was going along the north of the Gulf of Mexico, moved from Florida across into Texas. That dissipated a few days ago. But tropical cyclone activity is not expected in the next 7 days. So the quiet season continues. However, the Pacific's a different kettle of fish. So here, at the summers number 1, well southwest of Hawaii, a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms located well southwest of the Hawaiian Islands is associated with a broad area of low pressure. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of the system while it moves generally westward about 10 miles an hour towards the international dateline, and a tropical depression is likely to form in the western Pacific basin early next week. Formation chance in the next 48 hours is 40%, and in the next 7 days is 70%. So it looks like once it crosses that international dateline, the National Hurricane Center will not be following that storm. I think it will be for whoever looks after it in the Western Pacific. We've at the moment got Hurricane Forsto, I think you pronounced that. So Forsto is expected to weaken as it approaches the Hawaiian Islands early next week, but uncertainty remains regarding its exact track and intensity, while the current forecast brings the center just north of the islands. A track farther south would result in a greater risk of stronger winds and heavier rainfall. Interest across Hawaii should continue to monitor the progress of Forsto. And confidence is high that swells generated above Forsto will reach the Hawaiian Islands well in advance of the cyclone, producing increasing surf and dangerous rip currents. Surf is expected to begin building across the east-facing shores of eastern end of the state on Sunday, spreading westward Sunday night into Monday and continue to build through Tuesday as Forsto approaches and moves into the area. So this storm is got its path heading towards Hawaiian Islands, but they are keeping an eye on that closely. Oh, is that the one I'm after? So yeah, currently maximum sustained wind of 100 miles an hour. It's moving west up 40 miles an hour. And the current track has it turned into a tropical storm as it heads into the early part of this coming week. And it's not just that one. We've now got Guinevere. So Guinevere, currently a tropical storm, expects to be a major hurricane in the next few days. It continues to move west-northwestwards, currently at 15 miles an hour, but it expects to stay out in the Pacific. And it's expected to be a major hurricane by the end of tomorrow. So that's going to take us some rapid deepening in the next 24 to 36 hours. Right. So that's all the charts we're going to look at through to today. So, in summary of what we're seeing at the moment, looks like the heat will rapidly return in the next few days after this weekend's cooler spell, with some areas seeing their first bit of rainfall for maybe about a month or so. So, I'm not expected to accumulate too much across the UK, but northwestern areas of the UK, as this heat starts to build up from the southeast, perhaps northwest parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, with that boundary between the hot and cold air, we could see some quite heavy rain, maybe thunder rain at times, but it's possible. But it's how hot it will get toward central southeastern areas over the next few days, especially on Wednesday. Could possibly be the peak of the heat. Could be like a sudden heat blast, shall we say. Some models have really suggested in the mid to high 30s. Chance of 40 degrees can't be ruled out. Things need to come together. If it does, we will see 40 degrees. But after that, it's just where that boundary sits between hot and fresher air. Obviously, more verified in the next few days. But with the GFS run, the last two runs, it's kind of been the agreement, really. It's not going to be perhaps until the latter part of the week, maybe it's next weekend, where perhaps it turn a little bit cooler, getting into the mid to high 20s for next weekend instead of the sudden mid 30s. But Wednesday, we'll definitely need to keep an eye on those temperatures. Weather will be shooting up, and we're heading for a heat wave number 4 of the summer. And the dry spell will continue. And there's no really great signs of anything really of any rainfall, especially for England and Wales. It's looking a bit wetter towards the northwest, but England and Wales, the dry spell looks like it could continue. It said it depends where that boundary sits. If that fresher air moves further east, then there's more chance we could see a bit of rain for some areas. But if that boundary stays more towards the northwestern areas, we're just going to keep getting hotter. And obviously, things are going to keep drying out. But at the moment, Wednesday is the possible peak of the heat, if not Thursday, maybe towards the southeast. How high we're going to go, time will tell in the next couple of days, but we could be hitting those mid to high 30s again, people. Unfortunately, if you don't like the heat. Just going to have a look at one last look at the comments before we go in the next few minutes. Dear 350, and the heat goes on. It feels like Groundhog Day right now. Yeah. Just when many areas were under getting flooded, you're thinking, "Oh, I just want the sun," but now we're doing the opposite, aren't we? Let's get off in the next few moments. Thank you to our mods, Paul James and James, keeping an eye on things in the background. What we know, yes, I will be live next Saturday, but I'm away the Saturday after, so I might change it to maybe like a Friday night or sometime during that time, because when do I break up for a couple of weeks? I think in a few weeks' time I've got a bit of a break from work, so definitely do it live at some point the week after, but I definitely will be live next Saturday, again from 8 p.m. Please, let's set off there. Please take care in the heat. Just keep an eye on the forecast for the next few days. And if you, I know most of you are not a fan of the heat, just keep your curtains closed during the hottest part of the days, or all day really. And just try and keep yourself cool as much as you can. Thank you to our mods, and thank you all for watching. Please take care, stay safe, and I shall see you next Saturday from 8 p.m. Ta-ta for now. Take care.